right. Get to your seats, because I got a question to ask you before we get started. Are you ready? Is everybody ready for the humorous speech contest? Say R! Oh my, are we back at the English tea party again? Oh, I was just going to have a little tea. I'm going to do this again. I'm expecting focus, you pirates. Are you ready? Is everybody ready for the District 48 humorous speech contest? Oh, that's more like it. I like that. So now we're going to start. It is my pleasure to introduce you, your contest master. Please join me in welcoming the one, the only, Kai Rambo. Oh, give it up.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We are going to have a delightful experience, and I say that because we have 5 humorous contestants, and each one of them has already won through 3 levels, so you know they're good. There are a couple of things that we're going to be doing that are going to be a little bit different because we are doing this all over via Zoom. And so that means we need to do a few things a little differently. One of the things that will be a little bit different, as you know, we have a minute between each contestant so the judges can complete their ballots. Now, normally we would be completely silent. But I will tell you, when we go into that 1 minute of silence, we're actually, the first thing we're going to do is a tech check to make sure that we are getting the video feed and the sound that we need so that when I introduce the contestant, she or he is ready to go. So that's going to be a little bit different. Now, your participation in tonight's contest, and it's just so hard for Toastmasters, I know, and that is to be quiet for 1 minute. So I hope you can do your part well out of respect for the contestants this evening. I'm delighted to be your contest master because this contest is near and dear to my heart for a couple of reasons. I had only been a Toastmaster for a few years when we were short of a contest master for our district conference. And I was at our district meeting and they said, what are you going to do? And I said, I'll do it. And it was a delight. It was a great experience to do it. And it was a very memorable one. But the part that makes it near and dear to my heart is this. When I joined Toastmasters, I was not funny at all. And my club members not only knew that, they told me that. So I had a couple evaluations with that comment in it. And so when years later, when I entered and won the humorous contest at the district level, you know, there's some people get all excited about the international speech contestant and, you know, he or she won at the international level. I couldn't care less. But talk about the humorous contest, now that's got meaning for me. And you remember Gene said earlier this evening that everyone is on his or her own journey. And that is so true. So for me, that was, you know, people said to me afterwards, they said, are you going to enter the international speech contest? I said, no, I won the contest. I wanted to win. That has meaning to me. So it's very, very special to me as well. Now, the other part, I am like many of you in this room. I'm just very excited because I haven't heard any of these contestants. I did not attend any of the area contests or the division contests, so it's going to be just as new to me as it is for you. For those of you who are relatively new, I overheard a conversation a little bit earlier, and you're wondering, like, oh, you know, do I get involved with something? Don't I get involved with something? I would recommend that you take that on. First of all, you know, if you reach out to Toastmasters and ask, somebody is going to be there to help you. Answer your questions, coach you, help you do a good job. And the other part is you sometimes get to meet some really neat people in the course of volunteering. So for example, the contest chair, she's got overall responsibility. I'm just going to ask you to stand up for a moment. Billion, if McCowan, she is not new to Toastmasters, but she's only been here 10 months in Florida, and she's our contest chair. She's got overall responsibility, and we had only met over Zoom and talk about being in sync. She's a distinguished Toastmaster. We both texted each other almost at exactly the same time saying, do you want to have a short conversation to make sure we're on the same page? And so we both kind of laughed about that. So today was the first day that I met her, and she's a delight. She's just involved in doing those things. Plus, like me, she has an unusual first name, so it was just kind of a fun experience. I also met somebody else with an unusual first name, but it was not quite the same experience. I was out at a media event, and they introduced me to somebody else. I said, "No, I think the two of you should meet." And her first name was Luna, and I thought, what a lovely name. And I thought, wow, I'm getting to meet all these people with unusual first names. And I thought it was a lovely name until I found out later that that was her short name. Her full name is Lunatic. So I thought, better stay away from her. Just having fun with it. Okay. So let's take a moment to, first thing I'm going to ask everybody to do here in the room, if you have a cell phone with you, the number one thing I'm going to ask you to do is shut it off altogether.
Oh, I think I turned mine on.
If for some reason you have to be available, at least I'm going to do this because I may have to make, hopefully you don't have this happen, but I'm going to put mine on airplane mode so it doesn't interrupt us. We don't want to interrupt any of the contestants. And if anybody absolutely has to be on call, I want to know who you are because really.
Really? Somebody, Desi, will you please unmute the contest master Kai Rambo?
Okay.
Mic is unmuted.
All right.
Start over now.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, yeah. We'll go through. We'll just tease them. You missed the lunatic joke, so that's all we'll tell them. All right, you have ballots in front of you. Some of you may want to know what the speaking order is, so let me give that to you. Our first contestant will be Steve Vigil. Our second contestant will be Robin Featherston. Our third contestant will be Mary Lou Williams. Our fourth contestant will be Robert House. And our fifth contestant will be Virginia Papadopoulos. Do we have that problem fixed, Jeanette?
Yes.
Thank you for letting me know. I just wish we'd known earlier so we could have talked about the contestants before the speech contest. Okay, our chief judge, Luke. Are all the judges briefed and ready? Yes. We're good on that end. Good. All right, so let's get the contest underway. So for our first contestant, we will begin with a tech check.
Mr. Contest Master, may I interrupt? Who is the timer that's going to have the light, the background, so we can pin them?
It's going to be Emily Drenberg. Okay.
Thank you.
Right, Emily Drenberg, and it says timer Emily Drenberg.
And Emily, would you be good enough just to put up the green light so they are able to find you and pin you? All right, have we got, are the contestants happy with the pinning of the timer? Good. Our first contestant, Steve Vigil, Silly Real Estate, Silly Real Estate, Steve Vigil.
I've been selling real estate for 26 years. Our industry has spent millions of dollars in training and systems to provide the customer service our customers deserve. Lately, the newest signs have hit the marketplace, and they've got the biggest response ever in the history of real estate. Free tacos with the purchase of your home. Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, my business is silly sometimes, and I'm grateful for my Toastmasters Club to keep me going, even with all the silliness and improvisations that I have to make in impromptu situations. I see these silly signs, free tacos. I mean, really, is that what it could take to get you to make a decision on buying a house? Tacos, yeah, I'm hungry. I want that house. I want that one because it has tacos. It's supper time. There's some signs out there that are just silly. There's one sign that said mother-in-law, and then beneath it, it said for sale. I wonder if there was a bidding war on that one or if it was discounted. There was another sign that said quiet neighbors. It was next to a cemetery. Of this house, this sign, not haunted. Would you want to see that house? Tell you, I've got a silly job out there, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I called this one seller and I told her I'm coming by at 1 o'clock. She said, okay. She had the house set up perfectly for me. The lights were on, the music was on. I brought her, these two ladies in. They loved it. And we walked into the master bathroom, and lo and behold, there was the seller, totally naked. She just got out of the bathtub. She was standing there. She was drying her head off, and she pulled her towel off, and there was the three of us standing there like this. Later on, she told me, when I took the towel off, I just seen the three of you looking at me like this. I'll tell you, that was the quietest closing I've ever been to. Everybody was sitting at the table. Nobody was looking at each other, doing their papers. The title agent looked at me like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, the seller, she stood up out of her chair and she looked at us and she says, the three of you seen me naked. And then she said, what'd you think? And I looked up and I said, wow, it looks like you've been working out. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is where your Toastmasters training comes into play. When impromptu situations arise, you have to know how to answer those questions, right? I had silly real estate. I had a co-worker in our house. She was showing $1 million house to a doctor and his wife. And she was showing this beautiful house. And she was walking backwards and saying, look at this house. It's gorgeous. Oh my gosh. And she stepped right in the pool. In the deep end too. And she sunk straight to the bottom. She said, I looked up and my makeup was all floating. She crawled out of the pool on the other side, and then she got out, her mascara was just running down her face. She said her clients felt so bad for her, they bought the house. I thought, wow, look at that sales technique. I need to use that one. I like that. Silly real estate I'm in. Well, this one seller called me and said he wanted to sell his house. So I went over and there was a dog on the front porch. And he opened the door. We went inside and we went to the kitchen and the dog went to the living room. And then he started chowing down on one of the sofa legs. We went in and we were looking at the dog. And then the owner was looking at me and I was looking at him. We looked at the dog and he was like, and I said, that guy looks hungry. And he looked at me, he says, you know what? I'm appalled that you brought your dog with you on this appointment. I said, my dog? That's not my dog. I thought it was your dog. He said, that's not my dog. This dog just walked in. Turns out it was the neighbor's dog. I kind of like that dog. I mean, he was friendly. He was aggressive. I think he'd make a great real estate agent. This silly real estate man. Yeah, the owner asked me, he says, you know what can we do to sell this home fast? And I'm like, wow, that's where our real estate training comes in. Ladies and gentlemen, and that's why I go to my Toastmasters meeting every Monday night, and you should too. You get taught how to improvise and how to work on these things that happen unexpectedly in your life, in your job, in your family, in your life, and you can improvise. You do what you have to do to keep that meeting going and get to the end result. That's what we do as Toastmasters. It doesn't matter if there's naked people or dogs, no matter. What are we going to do, Mr. Seller, to get your home sold? Well, first of all, we have the best technology. We have the best systems, and we're going to install the hottest sign that's trending on the markets today, that it's getting the biggest response that we've seen in the history of real estate. Free tacos. Anybody want some tacos? You hungry? You hungry? Summertime. Mr. Contest Chair, they're hungry.
All right, we need 1 minute of silence from you, please. And for our tech masters, if we can do a tech check for Robin Featherston.
I'm here.
Great. And Madam Timer, let me know when we reach a minute, please. Our second contestant, Robin Featherston. Dating tips from a Gen Xer. Dating tips from a Gen Xer, Robin Featherston.
I got a slow start to dating. I only went on one date in high school. I know, shocking, like totally. Would shocking about Willis type of shocking. As Three Dog Night sang, one is the loneliest number. I blame growing up as a Gen Xer. Growing up analog when I was more digital. I was online dating before online dating was cool. Translation, back in the 90s. It had its ups and its downs. I experienced ghosting before it was called ghosting. Back then it was called being stood up. I have heard horror stories, and I'm sure you have as well, about opening messages online from people involved in online dating and unsolicited pics. I have never been the recipient of one. Thankfully, as a Gen Xer, I just don't care. I have 3 dating tips to share with you, and I will end with a hope for you, Mr. Contest Master and guests. Tip number 1, communication is key. For a Gen Xer like myself, that could be a teeny tiny bit of a challenge. After all, we were masters at sitting silently by the radio, waiting to punch that record button to record Tiffany's I think we're alone now. See anyone around? Just so that we could record it to that quintessential mixtape and give it to our crush. I've dated analog, I've dated digitally. Back in grad school, I had a study partner named Matt. Matt and I spent umpteen hours together. And as you might imagine, we started talking about personal stuff. And I once told him, I will never, ever assume that somebody is hitting on me and that they are interested in dating me, because what if I'm wrong? Well, I said, you have to hit me over the head with a baseball bat. Well, a week later, Matt got up from the couch where we were sitting studying, walked around the coffee table, walked over to my bookcase, came back over and bopped me over the head with the blow-up baseball bat from a Rays game. I looked at him, I said, what was that for? I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything. He looked at me. He looked at the ceiling. He's like, you said I had to hit you over the head. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, I want to date you. Communication is key. Don't rely on innuendo like Tiffany's song. Tip number 2, listen to your gut. Now, as a Gen Xer, I think we're actually pretty good at this because we were free range kids. We went to the park, no parental guidance. We rode our bikes, we walked, we skateboarded, we skated over to the park, 1 to 2 miles away from our house. We came home when it was dark. We knew stranger danger. We knew, hey, the guy in the white van's little skeevy. We trusted our gut, we stayed away. The guy walking the poodle through the park without kids of his own, stay away, our gut told us. Last year, I met a gentleman, and that's a loose term there, online. Mr. Quote back at you. He sent me a message one Saturday night after we'd been talking for a couple of weeks, and I didn't quite like the tone of the message, so I did not respond right away. Monday morning, I sent him a message. I said, I was busy over the weekend. I will respond later. I thought I was communicating very well, by the way. Well, here comes Wednesday. I had not responded. He sent me a new message, and all it had in it was a copy and paste of my message from Monday morning, exactly word for word. Well, you can imagine I got kind of grumpy at that point. I didn't respond until the weekend, and I wrote back to him and I said, dear Mr. Quote back at you, this is not going to work out. I have a bad feeling about this. Good luck in your search. He got nasty after that. But I communicated and I listened to my gut. If it is suspect, run. Tip number 3, and this goes for boys, girls, children of all ages. No stalking. Do not follow the police lyrics that end with, I'll be watching you. Now, you would think this would be a no-brainer for a Gen Xer like myself, because after all, we are the generational pros at keeping to ourselves. We used to entertain ourselves for hours alone after school until the parents got home. Well, just a few short years ago, back in 1992, 96, 98, I met a guy online. I was living in Northern Colorado. He was living in Northern Wyoming. It's about 4 hours apart. We would message back and forth every evening for months. And then one weekend came and I got in my new car and I drove up to Northern Wyoming. I didn't tell him I was coming. I didn't know his name, his phone number. I didn't know his address, but I knew his name. So I turned into a 7-Eleven, stopped at the phone booth, opened up the white pages and found his name, Casper. 307-867-5309. I called him up. Hey, Casper, I'm in town. You could have heard a pin drop. But he was a good sport, took me out to dinner, let me crash on his couch for the night, and then I never heard from him again. Don't just show up in your date's town without an invite because it's a teeny tiny bit awkward. I've been asked about dating during COVID. Well, let me tell you, that is right up my alley as a Gen Xer, because let's just revisit that one is the loneliest number. I am back to dating. In fact, I went on a date just last night. We had clear communication. My gut tells me he's a good guy. And I have not stalked him. Next time you start dating, I hope you find yourself singing, I think we're alone now. Doesn't seem to be anyone around. Mr. Contest Master.
All right, 1 minute of silence, please. And let's do a check for Mary Lou Williams. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
And we can hear you. All right. Contestant number 3, Mary Lou Williams, Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, Mary Lou Williams.
Everybody knows the story of Adam and Eve, how they ate the apple and were banished from the Garden of Eden. But few people know about the dynamics of their relationship and how it led to their undoing. Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, the birds of the air, the fishes in the sea, and then he created Adam and then Eve from Adam's rib. And that's when all the trouble started. God told them, do not eat the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Other than that, they could do whatever they wanted to do. But there was nothing for Adam and Eve to do because everything in the garden was working just the way it was supposed to. Everything except Adam. He wasn't working at all. He spent his weekends watching football. He watched Monday Night Football every night of the week. He watched the Broncos and the Colts, the Bengals and the Lions, the Jaguars and the Panthers, the Bears and the Rams, the Seahawks and the Dolphins, the Falcons and the Eagles, the Ravens and the Cardinals. Don't you have anything better to do than to watch a bunch of animals fight over a football? Said he. What else am I supposed to watch? The plants? There are no football teams called the rhododendrons or the rambling roses. Adam had no ambition. Now, Eve was just the opposite. She wanted a career. So one day she told Adam that she was going out. Out where? Out shopping. What for? We have everything we need right here. For clothes. I don't have a thing to wear. You don't need anything to wear. We live in a climate-controlled environment, like Florida, but without the traffic. I need clothes to make a good impression, said Eve. Who are you going to impress? I'm the only one here, and you don't need to impress me. You're the only woman in the world for me. Unfortunately, I am going out job hunting, said Eve. And naked people do not make a good impression on job interviews. That depends upon the job, said Adam. Oh, you are so immature. Well, what do you expect? I was born yesterday. Eve went out shopping and came back with a dress for success outfit, a pinstripe figure. She put it on and informed Adam that she was going out looking for a job. Lots of luck, impressing the birds of the air, the fishes in the sea, and the beasts in the fields, not to mention the rhododendrons and the rambling roses. That night, when Eve came home, she informed Adam that she had found the career she wanted to pursue. She had applied for a job on Wall Street, working for a financial company. You can't fool me. There's no such thing. A company is made up of people, and there are no other people in this world. We are the only two people God has made. Well, these people, said Eve, are self-made. Oh, really? And how did they turn out? A little crooked, but quite rich. Next day, Eve got an email saying she hadn't gotten the job. She didn't have the necessary.
Do you have the little device behind?
Sorry.
Do you have the device that connects to your mic?
Like Harvard, Princeton, or Yale.
Yeah.
Well, that you didn't graduate kindergarten. That's the end of that, said Adam. Oh, no, it's not, said Eve. I'm going to get an education. And how are you going to do that? I'm going to eat the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Then I'll know everything, just like God. That'll beat Harvard, Princeton, and Yale, and insider trading, too. But that's forbidden fruit, said Adam. Of course, God forbid it. He doesn't want any competition. I was talking to this serpent, and he said that if I ate the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, I would know everything God knows, and God couldn't do anything about it. He sounds like a snake in the grass, if you ask me, the world's first lawyer. I'd be afraid to take that advice if I were you. Oh, you're such a wimp. And Eve grabbed that apple, and she took a bite. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, oh, oh. And she went on and on and on, like Meg Ryan and When Harry Met Sally. How is it? Asked Adam. Oh, it's wonderful, said Eve. Like marijuana, only better. That appealed to Adam. If he'd taken a trip to Colorado. Give me a bite of that apple. No, it's forbidden fruit, remember? But he grabbed that apple. He said, I don't care. And he took a bite. Thunder, lightning, God appeared. Didn't I tell you not to eat the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Why did you do it? The devil made me do it, said Eve. The woman tempted me, said Adam. Don't blame anyone else. You are responsible for your own actions. I gave you free will. You could have said no. Well, why did you give us free will anyway? We didn't ask to be born. Thunder, like, uh-oh, now you've done it. Listen, Lord, that we didn't include me. She's using the royal we. She's speaking for herself. I didn't say it. Yes, but you were thinking it. How do you know? I'm the Lord. I know everything. Now, I'm expelling you two from the Garden of Eden, and I'm giving you the power to procreate. Go forth and multiply. And remember those words. We didn't ask to be born. You'll be hearing them again, Mr. Contest Master.
All right, calm down, please. 1 minute of silence. And let's do our tech check for Robert House. Robert, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll be Commencing in about a minute. Contestant number 4, Robert Houskey. Real kiss meets fake kiss. Real kiss meets fake kiss. Robert Houskey.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Toastmasters of all ages. Today, I'd like to talk to you about golden friends. What is a golden friend? I'm glad you asked. A golden friend is someone that you can call at 2 a.m. if you need help, and they come and help. I can't do that with my social media friends. If I get a flat tire at 2 a.m., who am I going to call? Lady Gaga? Hello, Gaga. Gaga, is that you? She never picks up. Playing hard to get. I met my golden friends when I was in the military. I was 8 years old. I served in the Cub Scouts. Hoo-yah! Jeff, he's tall and lanky. He squeezes the word dude into every sentence. Dude, Cub Scouts is awesome, dude. And Dave, we call Dave Woody because he laughs like Woody the Woodpecker. I knew we'd be friends. We just clicked. We had a love for the 3 major food groups: pepperoni pizza, drinking Mountain Dew, and the rock group Kiss. We had one dream at 8 years old, and that was to see the band Kiss live in concert. 8 long years later, the guys got me tickets to see Kiss for my 16th birthday. Dave was the first to get a vehicle. His dad, Dave Sr.'s old work van. It still said Dave's Plumbing on the side. And on the roof was a 6-foot-long metal plunger and a golden toilet. Sure, it looked like a clown car, but to us it was a party van. Woo! On the day of the concert, we agreed to leave at 4 p.m. and we'd each wear the Kiss makeup. Picture this. It's 4 p.m. I'm standing at the front door in my Kiss Gene Simmons makeup, my black members only jacket, and my red parachute pants. My dad said, "You're a sad sight for sore eyes." Thanks, Dad. 4 p.m. No van. I began to worry. 5 p.m. No van. I began to panic. This is me panicking. This is the worst day of my life. I'm going to miss the Kiss concert. 5:30 they showed up. And the first thing Woody said was, "We're late because we hooked up the record player to the van." Dude, don't be mad. It's like portable Kiss karaoke. I will admit, it was great on the highway. Wanna rock and roll all night. But every time Woody would take a turn, the needle would go. Hour into the voyage, Woody stopped the van in the middle of the highway. "It's broken." Thankfully, Jeff was in shop class. He knew just what to do. "Dude, we're out of gas. This is the worst day of my life." There we were, stuck on the side of a major highway, dressed as Kiss, pushing the van. "I'm gonna miss the Kiss concert." Finally, a car pulled over to help. I pushed the seat forward so the guys could get in the back. Jeff said to the driver, and I quote, "Dude, thanks for pulling over. We'll smoke a joint with you, dude." Meaning marijuana. And the driver said, and I quote, "Oh, I can't be doing that. I'm on duty." And he pointed at his dashboard, at a police officer's sheriff's hat. Dumb and Dumber offered weed to a cop. At that point, I didn't know if he's driving us to the gas station, to the police station. I'm pretty sure we're going to be on probation. Finally, he asked, So what's up with the van and the makeup? You guys, you in the circus? No, we're going to the Kiss concert. Kiss. They're still around. And I worked up all my courage and I asked in my most manly voice, are we going to jail? Jail? I'm not a cop. I'm a male stripper. It's raining man. Hallelujah. So we race to the stadium. We get to the stadium just in time to see everyone leave the stadium. Missed the entire show. We go to the pizza parlor across the street from the stadium. By this point, our clothes smelled like diesel fumes. The Kiss makeup was burning our skin. We looked like Kiss zombies. Pizza. As soon as we sat down, these three beautiful girls walked in about our age. They're wearing Kiss shirts. I stood up and I asked in my most manly voice, hi, how was the show? Oh my God, it was awesome. You guys look totally cool. We do? And with that, Jeff stood up. He was holding his mom's credit card. Dude, we should get a room at the Marriott. Do you girls want a party? Yeah, let's party. So we take off. We go to the Marriott. We get a hotel room suite. Jeff and I go to get ice. The elevator door slowly parts open. And this giant of a man walked in. It was Gene Simmons from Kiss. He looked down at me and he said, I know you. You're Gene Simmons from Kiss. No, you're Gene Simmons from Kiss. No, you're Gene Simmons from Kiss. And about that time, the elevator door opened back up. It was Gene's hotel room suite. Well, guys, looks like the ride is over. And he opened his arms up and he gave me a great big hug. This is the best day of my life. We race back to the hotel room. We tell the girls, they get all excited. Yay, let's go get autographs. They take off. 10 minutes goes by. No girls. 5 minutes goes by. No girls. What he said. They're not coming back. Yeah, they never came back. Today, over 150 years later, Kiss is still around. And I am still friends with Jeff and Woody. Golden friends. Hopefully you have some golden friends in your life. If you do, I encourage you to reach out to them and create some new memories. My friends have been there for me, the good times and the bad. When my grandmother passed, it was Jeff that I called at 2 a.m. I was at a loss for words and Jeff said, dude, hold on tight. I'm on my way. Jeff showed up at my family's house with enough pizza and Mountain Dew to feed a Cub Scout troop. And most importantly, he brought Woody. And just like that, those two turned my family's tears of loss into tears of laughter. You can be that blessing in someone's life. You can be that light. You can be that friend.
All right, 1 minute of silence, please. And gentlemen, if you'd be good enough, Virginia, can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Is the vocal quality clear?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Contestant number 5, Virginia Papadopoulos. When I grow up, Virginia Papadopoulos.
What did you want to be when you grow up? An astronaut, perhaps? fashion designer? No. How about billionaire? I had a recent epiphany. I decided I needed a career change. I wanted to be more than the CEO of my kitchen and laundry room. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, Mr. Contest Master, when I grow up, I want to be Miss Universe. Imagine the crown, the flowers, and the scepter, and all eyes on me. Stating your goal helps you envision your goal, and you must believe it when you say it. It's 2022 and anyone can be Miss Universe. Say it with me. Come on, guys, you too. I want to be Miss Universe. That was good. You can do better. Loud and proud this time. I want to be Miss Universe. That's perfect. Now, how will we achieve this lofty goal? By planning. Here's some advice a friend once shared with me. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Hey, that's more peas than Papadopoulos. Finally. Time to plan. First, let's practice the wave and do it with me. Practice the wave with me. Lift your arm up, cup your hand, and move it to and fro. Add that cheesy smile, and away we go. Perfect. Now, one little hint. There's a woman across the pond in England who also wears crown. Her name is Liz. And if you don't move your hand to and fro, but go up and down, she gets really mad because up and down is her wave. Did you just say something to me? Age? Age? Yes, I'm well aware the title is Miss Universe. I'm 20 years old. Okay, would you believe 25? Okay, I wasn't calculating the summers of my life. I'll just count my age in dog years. That's sure to work. Now let's continue planning. Say it with me. Proper planning prevents poor performance. You got it. Oh boy, the swimsuit competition is next. Read the rule book from cover to cover, and I know I have plenty of assets to cover. It stated no more bikini. Yay! It's a one piece for me. For the swimsuit competition, I'll wear a unitard, just like Olivia Newton-John wore in Grease the movie, 1978. Think about it. I'll be covered from head to toe. There will be no sag, no flab, no wiggles, and no jiggles. The unitard will suck in all the flab and make everything look fab. Let's continue on because the next thing is the talent competition. And to prepare for that, oh gosh, I don't sing. I don't dance. Twirl a baton. Some judge will get it across the head. He'll have a concussion. Oh, in real life, you need to focus on the things that you can do. Set yourself up for success. Think about it. I'm a Greek housewife. And as CEO of my kitchen, what do I do best? I cook. I'll do a baklava making demo. They'll be licking the honey off their lips and plates with a smile. Yay, now we can go on to the interview. Yes, the interview. And guess what? I'm a Toastmaster, and I bet you are too. It's a 1 to 2 minute table topic, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Tie it up with a bow and serve it with a smile. Toastmaster, I suggest you join. Impromptu speaking is She. Okay, what's next on our list? Oh, snap! Walking in stilettos! I haven't walked in stilettos in 30 years! No worries, I got this. I'll just bling out my Reebok walkers with rhinestones on top. I'll take a red marker and paint the bottoms in red, and I'll call them faux boutons. Yes, just like the French shoes by Louboutin that cost $1,500. I'll be saving some money there. The evening gown competition is next. And guess what? I don't have an evening gown. I'll wear my finest silk nightgown and matching kimono. I'll tell everybody they were designed by the new French designer, Chichi Foufou de la Paris. Oh, how totally le bouger. At least I'll be comfortable in my les jammies. Oh, I'm sure to be Miss Universe. I may be older than dirt, crustier than a crab, but baby, I still got it. Okay, half the time I forget and I don't know what to do with it, but I got it. I know I do. I can see it now as they announce the winner of Miss Universe 2022. As I reach to grab my crown and put it on, I fall flat on my face and go splat. I press my life alert. Oh no! And when I come to, I'm in my recliner at home with 6 of the sexiest firefighters surrounding me. Oh, I love it. Washboard abs and puppies, just like the firefighters on the calendar. It's awesome. Well, I guess I'll just have to be Miss Universe of my very own recliner at home. Won't quit my day job. I'll still be CEO of my kitchen and laundry room. The real question is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Mr. Contest Master.
All right, you've had a chance to practice. So we now need 2 minutes of silence, please, to allow the judges to complete their ballots and for the chief judge and ballot counters to collect them. So 2 minutes of silence, please. All right, the judges need just a little bit more time, so please keep it quiet. Thank you. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give our contestants another round of applause. Well, now we get an opportunity to meet our contestants, learn a little bit more about them. So, Mr. Techmaster, if I could please have our first contestant, Steve V. Hill, who spoke on silly real estate. Now, we had a little bit of fun with Steve because he missed our initial briefing and we used playing cards to determine the speaking order. It just so happened the card we pulled for him put him in the number one spot. But when we got on with him in a catch-up briefing, we told him that we changed the rules and the other contestants voted on who should go first. So had a little bit of fun with that. Yeah, I've got a guy on there. All right, Steve, I've got a question for you. You talked about in your speech the woman being naked.
Oh, yes.
So what did you actually end up doing? And did you use any Toastmaster skills at that moment?
Every bit of it was Toastmaster skills. What happened was I told her we were coming and she says, "You guys are always late." I said, "No, we're not. We were on time that time." So she didn't believe us. So it was funny when we were doing the contract. She says, I can't sell it to them. They've seen me, And I said, don't worry, just sign the contract. We'll talk about it later. And the buyers said, we can't buy that house because, I said, well, let's just sign the contract. We'll worry about that later. And you got to do what you got to do to make a sale happen. You know what I mean?
Well, that certainly is probably the wildest real estate story I've heard.
Yes.
All right. You had on your profile, we wanted to ask them for a favorite quote. And yours is, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yes.
So can you share something with us where most people were afraid to ask, but you asked and therefore you got it, whatever it was?
Well, I'm in sales, and it's funny. A lot of salespeople, they don't ask for the sale. And we train sometimes, and I'm a trainer as well. And we train the 7 penny close. I mean, you got to close 7 times, the same close 7 different ways. And some people, here's a secret. Some people get weak after the 3rd or 4th close, and they finally say yes. So I always say, first of all, if you never ask, we always know the answer is going to be no. So even if you're going to get a no, if you ask, you at least have a chance for a yes. Then you can reconfigure it, but always just keep asking. I mean, what's the worst that can happen,
All right. We are going to be sending certificates of participation to you.
Okay.
And those will be sent to you electronically, is my understanding, but those will be on their way. But I certainly, and let's us as an audience, thank him for a great speech.
Thank you.
By the way, as the contest master, the instructions say, don't predict or say anything about the speeches, which tonight was a little bit hard because we had so many wonderful performances. But I feel I can safely say this, and I will say this to each contestant. Thank you. You may be one of the winners. So, all right. Our second contestant this evening was Robin Featherstone. And let's thank her and welcome her. All right, Robin, some of you may know, served as district director a few years ago. So she's certainly been an active Toastmaster. And Robin, are there any Toastmaster skills that you found helpful in dating?
Communication. And sometimes leadership, because sometimes you have to lead the date where you want them to go. But seriously, communication, because without communication, there's no way a relationship can actually progress forward. Because I could be on one path and my date on the other path. And if we're not talking to each other or emailing or texting or communicating in some way, the basis of what we're thinking, then it's just going to be a collision and pretty much nobody's going to be happy.
So you don't do anything like, hey, I'm a past district director, follow me?
No, I've had enough leadership. I let them lead.
All right. Now, in your case, when under interest and hobby, you said dating, reading, Florida style hiking. When you say Florida style hiking, what do you mean by that?
Flatland. Ever since I was a kid, I like hiking, and I can hike up a hill or a mountain, but coming back down, I'm either going down on my backside or search and rescue is going to come pick me up off the top and bring me back down. So Florida style hiking is the best thing in the world because it's flat with some tree roots and gators and other wildlife. But we have a wealth of paths and trails. We have how there's the Appalachian Trail. We actually have a Florida trail that goes from South Florida all the way up to the Panhandle. I have not partaken of that yet. It is a goal of mine. I start with the local parks and slowly branch out. So Florida style hiking means pretty much flat.
Okay, great. And let's give Robin and thank her for her speech. Our third speaker this evening was Mary Lou Williams with her speech on Adam and Eve. And under notable accomplishments, you had the first thing she listed was her distinguished Toastmaster. So brownie points there. It also says you published a book. Can you tell us a little bit about that book?
Oh, yes, it's a book called 10 Fractured Fairy Tales, because I tell fairy tales, but I fracture them. That is, they're classic tales that keep the basic plot and characters of the original story, but it changes it in unexpected ways, giving it modern perspectives and ironic twists. So that's what these fractured fairy tales are. And they're really for adults rather than children.
Well, you're in line, because that's what the original fairy tales that were designed for adults, not for kids.
Yes.
Yeah. And they've got it. And would you be kind enough to tell us the title of the book?
10 Fractured Fairy Tales.
Okay. All right. I may need to work on my listening skills, but I think we have a pathway on that, don't we? We got something there. All right. And
I can tell you some titles like Snow White and the Seven Vertically Challenged Persons, and Ugly Cindy and the Magical Glass Slippers, and Hansel and Gretel and the Witch Who Was on a High Protein Diet.
Okay. Now, for your favorite quote, you said life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Great quote. Can you tell us a little bit more about the quote? Because you also indicated the person who came up with the quote, or to whom the quote is attributed.
Neil Walsh, I forget his last name now. I forget his name. You should have it there.
Yeah. Neil Donald Walsh.
Yes, Neil Donald Walsh, that's right. That's it. Well, what you want me to tell you why I like that quote? Or?
Yes, please.
Yes, I like it because it certainly has been true for me. When I get out of my comfort zone, that's when I accomplish something. Otherwise, I stay in a rut. And it really applies to Toastmasters, because in Toastmasters, I never would enter contests. I was always too afraid. I was out of my comfort zone. And then I decided to enter a contest. And when I did, I felt much better about it. Whether I won or lost, I felt that I had accomplished something. And that was getting out of my comfort zone. And it enabled me to grow as a speaker and as a storyteller, which is my specialty. And so I think that's something that has applied to me and that guides me now in everything I do. I try to get out of my comfort zone.
All right. Thank you so much. Our fourth contestant, Robert Hausk. Your speech on Real Kiss Meets Fake Kiss, I think we've got this recorded, don't we? I've got to get that extracted, because my brother-in-law is an entertainment lawyer, a big Kiss fan, and he actually got to do work with Gene Simmons. So I think he'd get a kick out of your presentation and having some fun with this one. All right. You have under your hobbies hiking. And so what are some of your favorite hikes that you've done?
About 3 weeks ago was one of my favorite hikes. I went to Virginia. And I've always wanted to do a through hike from Appalachian Trail through Georgia all the way up to Maine. It takes on average of 5 or 6 months. So that's a lifetime goal of mine. So I got to actually walk on the Appalachian Trail, or hike on the Appalachian Trail for 3 or 4 days, and I really enjoyed that. Nothing was blooming at that point, really, so I didn't get to see all the beautiful colors they get up there, but it was a lot of fun.
Did you run into any bears?
No bears, no bears.
No bears. Okay, got it there.
Saw some bunny rabbits, but.
All right. I really like your favorite quote here. If you're in hell, keep moving.
Yes, that's from Winston Churchill. If you're in hell, keep moving. That's just a good philosophy of life. If you get down and think that it's easy to get stuck in the mindset of things are terrible, but if you keep moving, you're going to get through anything. It's just anytime I've been depressed and been down and I just wallowed in my sorrow too long, I just keep moving forward, you can get through a lot quicker.
Okay, and just a little side note for the audience. When most of the contestants filled this out by hand, and when I first saw it, I thought, I think I know what this is about. because for those of you who are familiar with KISS, I'm not saying you have to be KISS fans, you know, the S's, he did the S's just like that on there. So, yeah, a little bit. Okay, now the other thing under significant accomplishments, you have that you're a marathon runner. I always get concerned when I see that because, you know, you could just get in the car and drive it much faster and much easier.
Right.
So how long have you been doing marathon running, and how many have you done?
I have done 15 marathons.
Wow.
Done one in probably 5 years, and it is something else. When you get in the car, like you were saying, if you look at your tachometer and you gauge 26 miles, it's quite a long ways. It's still, even though I've done 15, I'm still impressed that anyone can do it. I'm not competitive at it. I just do it for my own well-being. I get a lot out of it. I enjoy it, but I was never competitive, but I just enjoy doing it. I like the aspect of traveling to different cities and seeing different cities and staying there for 3 or 4 days. So it's a lot of fun.
All right, let's thank Robert. Our last contestant was Virginia Papadopoulos. And Virginia, I got to tell you, as much as I like you, I don't think I would do well in a Miss Universe contest at all. So there's a challenge there. Now, Virginia had Virginia had the funniest interests and hobbies part because she had she just started and then she kept going. But here's what she put on there. My husband is my biggest interest. My husband is so cute. 30 years in September. So let's give her a round of hand. But I know Gus is listening in. Gus, I have some disappointing news. You were not the first thing she listed. The first thing she listed was rocks, and then dogs, and decorating. So you're fourth on the list. So the dog part I understand, and your love for your husband I understand. How did rocks make it to the first part of the list?
My husband has excellent taste in choosing rocks. So I became a rock collector. And he pays for it. I lost the volume. Kai, I can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Yeah, just enjoy this while you can, because this is all focused on you. So keep that in mind. All right. Your favorite quote is an unusual one. It's shoot for the moon and you're likely to run into a billionaire. So no, it actually is shoot for the moon. You will likely reach the stars. So what is it you like so much about that quote?
It's sparkly. And it gives you hope. When you have a goal, you have to take it one bit at a time. So why don't you overshoot your goal and you'll land on a nice star and you win.
All right, we can't argue with that, can we? But let's thank her for great job.
Oh no.
We were very fortunate because we had 5 fabulous contestants. They really did a great job. We were very well entertained. I certainly enjoyed it, as most of you did as we were going through this. So it was just lovely to see this. The judges certainly had their work cut out for them. You know, to put together a contest or even a conference like this takes a lot of work. And I would like to acknowledge some of the people who helped make this contest happen. So just so you know, we had, I think, somewhere in the order of 4 or 5 meetings via Zoom. And then there were individual meetings to make sure different parts of this happened. So I'd like each person to stand up when I call upon them. Please hold your applause until we are finished with everyone. So our district contest chair, who had a lot of responsibility, she said responsibility for all 3 contests this weekend. That's Jeanette Sweeney. Hold your applause. Hold your applause, please. Jeanette, would you please stand up? Stay standing. All right. I already mentioned her. Billion McCowan, who was our contest chair for this contest. You can practice your wave, right? Our Sergeant at Arms, Jesse Millican, assisting for the Sergeant at Arms. It's online. Okay. Rebecca Baker. She's also online. Okay. Our tech masters are not, they've been here with us, and Mike Giglio and Clay Kent. Now, Clay, you don't know this. I just kept saying, I hope I don't mess this up because I was so tempted to say Clark Kent. We got Clay. All right. And our timers, I know they're online. Emily Drenberg. And by the way, in case you don't know, Emily's very new to Toastmasters and she just jumped right in. Okay. And for those of you who don't know, she's a past district director as well. And our other timer, Mary Disher. Our ballot counters, who were busy running around making sure we got all the judges' ballots, Freeman Morey, Valerie Moody, and Jeff Thomas. Now, all of our judges will remain anonymous, but let's give a hand to all of these folks. Now, we also have some dignitaries in the room. So sorry, as I announce your name, please stand, but you're going to have to be dignified because I just introduced you as a dignitary. So I know that may be hard for you, Gene, but we'll somehow manage on that one, right? We've got it there. All right. So our district director, Jean May. Our program quality director, Teresa Norton. Our club growth director, Jim Ellis. Our district chief judge, Andrew Byrne. And I'm going to ask the following people to stand, and please just hold your applause. We'll get everyone. Any division directors that are here this evening, please stand. And our area directors that are here, please stand. And any distinguished Toastmasters, let's give a hand of applause to all of those folks. Okay. Thank you so much. Please be seated. You may not be aware of this, but our district officers have a lot of responsibilities through the year. It is a big time commitment, and they do so joyfully. I was talking with one of the district officers about something was just, and it was nothing terribly important. You would have thought I was the first call of the year. It was just a really delightful exchange, and yet having been through those roles myself, I just knew how much was involved. But we've got really dedicated officers doing a lot of hard work throughout the year. All right. We've had a great contest. And I have the pleasure of announcing the winners. And Gene, you're going to be up here presenting the trophies, right? So contestants, you do not get the trophies in person just yet, but we are going to do this virtually. Gene, Now, yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Now they don't want it. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. We'll make sure it gets disinfected. Anybody got hand sanitizer? Got it there. All right. In 10th place. No, I'm just kidding.
I won.
In 3rd place, Steve Vigil. Yeah, I don't know if, is he able to see that? No, he's not. Okay, so just so you know, the trophy's there. Gene got his hands all over, but we will sanitize it before we get it back to you. In 2nd place, drum roll please, Virginia Papadopoulos. And the winner of this year's, oh, okay. All right, now we're ready. All right, and this year's winner of the District 48 2022 Humorous Contest, Mary Lou Williams. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the humorous contest, and I will return control to our pirate of the evening, Jacques.
All right. Wasn't that a great contest? Not just woo over here. All right. Okay, we're going to shorten a little bit of a break. Right now, we're going to take 5 minutes. You pirates. 5 minutes. You all have clocks. We're going to get back in here. We're going to set the Zoom. Everybody there that's online for the contest, go back to the original Zoom on the good ship Zoom and be ready. 5 minutes. How many minutes? See you in 5.